Good morning, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We're at 5932 Northeast 29th Avenue here in Portland. Located down in the basement. I describe everything as if you're standing in the street facing the front of the home. So we're up against the front foundation wall at the front left corner of the basement right now. Water's running, you're zeroed out, off we go. Alright, got some settling, which we'll take a better look at as we come back out.
Yep, it was hot.
The texture of this water is interesting. I don't know if someone put paint down the line or what the deal is, but it's got kind of a weird appearance to it. Making a switch here to 6-inch concrete. All right, now we're switching over to, we're transitioning to 6-inch 3034 PVC, and we're going to go over the concrete pipe as we come back in. There are a fair amount of joints in the concrete pipe that are showing a level of separation, which we'll go into here in a moment. We're at the main connection here. It looks like the city updated their end of the sewer line. All right, just located the camera head successfully. Line terminates on Northeast 29th. And the line here does a pretty darn straight shot all the way out to the street. In fact, if you go stand out in the road there and face back at the front of the house, lining up kind of with the front left corner of the property, you'll see a little green plastic circle in the curb. That's a curb stamp. That's where the line crosses the curb into the street. And so when you're trying to Now, I apologize. I've been sitting here talking to myself this whole time with the mic turned off. We have multiple root intrusions throughout the line, and every single pipe joint I've gone past so far shows evidence of groundwater seepage. I parked my camera at multiple different joints there as I was coming back in. You can probably see them. There's roots there. Sorry, I'm going back out to show you the same thing. But every one of these joints with a dark stain at the top of them, that's all groundwater seepage. There was one, the first root that caught my eye was a little trickier to hunt down because the roots have been kind of smashed into the joint. Anyway, this joint is out near where the street's at. That joint is certainly open to the ground. When you go back and rewatch the video, you can see the rock sitting in the joint that's migrated into the line. Some of it's probably from the concrete pipe itself, but anyway, I've stirred things up enough now, it's probably going to be hard to see what I was pointing out. But if you watch the video, you'll see where my camera stops. Yeah, there's a root right there crammed down into the pipe joint. It's smashed into it. There's also a root nubbin sticking up, which is easier to see when I first stop here on the left side of the screen. So you have 3 or 4 root intrusions that I can count. You've also got every joint just about has got groundwater staining at it. All that dark staining at the top of the pipe is where groundwater is seeping in. So the good thing is the line has good slope and grade. This would be a very good candidate for an epoxy liner. And I think it would be I mean, you can do the repair however you want to, but you've got good slope to work with. And these roots here, I don't think we're getting a natural state look at them. They all look identical in length. So they probably have been cut. This debris right here that you're seeing is stuff that's migrated in through the downspout system. There's a tie-in right here. So if you do a liner, you're gonna have to potentially reinstate that opening if those have not been, either kicked out onto the ground already or something of that nature, but that's a bunch of junk that's coming in from the downspout. So I recommend all concrete pipe within homeowner responsibility be updated. I'd highly recommend looking into a liner on this one. And ideally you want to take that liner and stretch it just past the curb to ensure that if anything ever gets through the transition joint, it's doing it in city responsibility. All right, I'm getting around 5 feet deep here. I would relocate. I'm not putting depths down just because my locates are coming in funny enough. Seems a little shallow for a basement line, but it's entirely possible it's at that depth. I was getting between 4'9" and about 5 feet there. Oh, you have a piece of cast iron in the line right here. That's what caught my camera. So what this is, you see this commonly on old homes. This is actually in the flow line. What that is a little piece of cast iron, and it's rusted in place. I don't see any, well, there's a little bit of buildup around it. The hard part here is I don't know how aggressively this line is cleaned. It has the appearance that someone may have done some root cutting on it. In a lot of cases, these little things like this often don't result in much because they sit flat enough in the flow line. There's a little bit of substance that's kind of built up there on the side of it. Not a lot. Not seeing a lot of backup evidence coming off of that. Being that is there, if you're going to do an epoxy liner though, what I would rather see is clean the line up, see if this can be removed, or just simply line over the top of it. It's not a whole lot further to go, but while you're already in here, I think it would be worthwhile. If everything else in the line looked great, I don't think I would necessarily recommend that, but you just need to extend the liner a little bit, smooth that out. That helps prevent anything from getting caught on it. That, in my opinion, is not quite significant enough to warrant a repair on its own, as what happens is they'll cut into the cast iron to do a repair. Piece of it will chip off and get down into the line, and then it will rust itself into place. And I have seen thousands of those over my career, and unless they're situated just right, often they don't do a whole lot to affect functionality, because you've still got dang near 4 inches of diameter to work with still. You've lost maybe a little bit more than a 1/4 inch there. There's a little bit of an edge on it, so that's what I'm going to recommend here. In this case, because of that chunk of cast iron there, I'm going to recommend the liner start essentially immediately into the clean out and extend all the way out to the end of responsibility. And the liner is another good option in this circumstance too, because they're essentially a jointless pipe product. They overlap the existing joints nicely. You don't have as many weak points for roots to punch back through in the future. They also generally come with a good warranty. I'm a big fan of them, and this is a good setup for anyone watching this. You've got a nice 45-degree angled clean out shot into here. It's a dead straight run the entire way out. After any repairs are done, make sure a rescope is performed to check the work.